Today, as we're going through about 4 or 5 days of going through the disciples on the road to Emmaus, remembering that they had been there and heard the witness of the women, heard the witness, as we'll see later on today, of the disciples who had gone to the tomb and seen that it was just as the women had said. But as they're on this road, and as Jesus is going to be teaching them and sharing with them, we're going to see very much two wrong ideas of Christology, which is who is Jesus. And then tomorrow, Jesus sharing, this is who I am. He is the I am come into this world, and he is risen. So we begin with verse 18 today. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered Jesus. Now, Cleopas, only real spot that we definitely see him as a disciple of Jesus. We don't really know who this is in Scripture. However, the early church says that this Cleopas, and so this is early church tradition, is the one that is mentioned in John 19:25. In other words, early church tradition says this Cleopas was the brother of Joseph, and it would have been the uncle of Jesus. Would have been so that's the early church. And the second disciple here was Simeon, according to the early church, who later became the head of the Jerusalem church. So that's who the early church views these two disciples, which is the most that we really kind of have. Not a thus saith the Lord in Holy Scripture, but I would definitely lean towards where the early church says that these two are. So think of those and the familial connections that are here. And so one of them, named Cleopas, answered Jesus, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem? Does not know these things that have happened here, that have happened there in these days?" And so here, these two disciples are still stuck in Good Friday. They're still stuck at the cross. He has died. And the blessings of what Jesus said, his statement, this is what will take place, have not yet come to fruition for them. Christ is raised. He is there with them. But for them, that is not the reality yet. And so, with what had happened with Jesus, everybody should know. And Jesus said to them things. So you're very much in the rabbi form, asking a question to keep on talking and going over what's going on. Very much a catechism type thing. And in our small catechism, you have the questions and the answers. And good catechesis gets the questions forward and gets discussion happening and taking place. And they said to Jesus, concerning Jesus of Nazareth, remembering from yesterday that this had been hidden from them for their own good at this moment. Concerning Jesus of Nazareth, a man who was a prophet, mighty in word and deed before God and all the people. And here's the first misunderstanding of who was Jesus, misunderstanding of Christology, misunderstanding of what is. So he was a great man. He was great. It was Jesus of Nazareth. He was a prophet, mighty indeed. And they kind of stopped there. So a great man, awesome things, but they're not yet to have taken the point. They're still at Jesus, Son of Man, which you could understand, especially the uncle and the uncle's son, all this going forward. And so we got the family relations. And knowing that much, you can see how God had to keep them away from knowing this for the catechesis to take place. It's the first misunderstanding. The second one is the rejection. Verse 20, and how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned and crucified him. Second misunderstanding, rejection of his divine statement of who he is. Then they say, but we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Again, their misunderstanding of why Christ came to kick out the Romans. No, He came for redemption of sins, so that his kingdom, not of this world, but eternal for each and every one of us. Continuing on. Yes, and besides all this, it's now the third day since these have happened. This has taken place. He is dead when you get to the third day. There's no in Jewish thought, not biblical Jewish thought, the soul separates from the body at that third day. So then it is done at that point. Moreover, some women of our company amazed us. They were at the tomb early in the morning, and when they did not find his body, they came back saying that they had even seen a vision of angels. The women said, "We've seen angels." They're saying a vision, who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the woman had said, but him they did not see. Again, a recap of what had just happened. Now Christ is going to take what they know, what they have witnessed, what they have seen, and then explain what this all means. But that begins tomorrow. May the Lord bless and keep you this day and forever.